Good evening and welcome back to All Influencer Wrestling. I am your clout missioner, Captain Tyrion's Guidal.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring from San Salvador, El Salvador, La Llorona.
And here is a competitor we have not seen in action in a little bit, Llorona, making her way down to the ring. All style, but plenty of substance. We have a packed card ahead for you tonight, but our main event is where all eyes will be. The embattled Vattlestar Galactica, one-on-one across in the ring, finally, with her now identified tormentor, the enigmatic Trix. Months of investigation, of chasing, of defeat, of misdirection. Val finally gets her hands on the person responsible.
And from Queens, New York, the Punisher, Victoria Holland.
Victoria Holland, her second match here in All Influencer Wrestling, did not have the greatest of opening bouts. She is out to change her direction here tonight, but there is a giant roadblock facing her in the form of Llorona. Will Victoria start racking up wins, or will she be the one left weeping? Staring down her opponent, waiting, Victoria is a woman on a mission. And charging through, just throwing Llorona into the ropes. Victoria not waiting at all to get this match kicked into a high gear. Up over the shoulders she goes and bounces Llorona off the ring. And vaulting around, trying to get some interesting momentum off of the ropes there. Seems to work out. This is a beating like we usually do not see Llorona take. One of the taller, more dominant forces in that division. It's been a very long time since we saw Llorona get handled like this. Victoria is clearly out to avenge the showing she had in her very first match. She says, "I am not here to be underestimated." Leg drop across the prone Llorona. And chop, kick, and over the shoulder blades, down, going for the pinfall. Not even a lick of offense, but Llorona is a resilient competitor. Only a one, kip up and straight into another flurry of blows, but counter, hip toss by Llorona. This could be the momentum shift she needs. Nope. Victoria just shoving her off and charging her down. Up and the sheer power. Oh, into a pin predicament. Got that deep, but another kick out at one. Trying to wake up with the chop. Big boot attempt there. Counter flying kick by Llorona. Blocked by Victoria Holland. Again, just shoves off. Over the top ropes goes Llorona and catches a hand for her trouble and vaulted back in again. Up and down across the knee she goes. Realizing it's going to take more than that to keep this competitor down, Victoria going to the top rope and giant splash halfway across the ring. 1, 2, 3. What a showing for Victoria Holland. Thol's balls. What a turnaround. We have never in the history of AIW seen Iarona take a beating like that. That is a massive change in fortunes for the now dominant Victoria Holland, putting her mark on this division and putting everyone else on notice. A new powerhouse has made their statement. After that high offense opening match, we're going to go right ahead into a short break as we reset the ring. We will be back in just a moment for our next match. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi. I'm Captain Turiant Guidel, most dashingly handsome pirate in all of Lumsalaminsa, and the clout missioner of all influencer wrestling. As a swashbuckling pirate, I know a thing or two about hats. And sometimes, even I feel the hats I own are just too big. So when I feel the need for minuscule millinery, there's only one place that comes to mind. TinyHatLabs.com. Tiny Hat Labs have always sought to push the boundaries of what's possible in client engagement millinery feedback solutions. Their guiding question remains the same today as it was when they were founded. What if small hat, but tiny? Operating at the nexus of science, engineering, artificial intelligence, art, fashion and design, Tiny Hat Labs seeks to pave the way to a paradigm shift in headpiece technology. While others ask, how much? TinyHatLabs.com asks, how little? I'm Captain Turiant Guidel, and TinyHatLabs.com is my favourite place for hats on the internet. Welcome back. Welcome back.
The foe is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring, representing the Monsters from overseas, weighing in at 499 pounds, Benny.
Representing BDFS, this trio of identical Minotaur half-brothers. They've come from Waterdeep to AIW, and they are here to put their mark. Benny, the powerhouse of the trio, in singles action tonight with his brothers by his side as always.
And his opponent from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, weighing in at 200 pounds, the X Factor.
Sevius Doom, a brave individual to step into that ring with no backup, no support. It is a one-on-one match. Neither of Benny's brothers are legally able to interfere, but nonetheless, that is a daunting wall of beef that Sevius Doom is staring down. Benny by himself is a terrifying prospect, backed up by his half-brothers. Sevius, though, right out the gate, he knows he needs to end this one quick and is launching right out there with some offense. Taunting Benny from the outside of the ring. I did note, though, that Sevius got at least a little bit of distance between him and Benny before mouthing off. And Benny here to make Sevius pay for that arrogance. Although Sevius getting those chops in, lighting up the chest of the Minotaur Benny. Sevius putting a very impressive showing in here. Benny back to his feet. Ducks out the way, grapple up. I don't think Sevius wants to get locked into a contest of strength here. Tied up and down he goes. A impressive standing senton there by Benny, but Sevius able to dodge out of the way. And Hoy out the ring goes Sevius, and I think it is for the best that I don't know if it was Federico or Reinhardt that got in the way of the cameras there, but that landing was massively painful for poor Sevius Doom. We probably would have had to go up an age rating if we'd shown that landing. And down. Hop. Just multiple side slams. Benny is just hauling poor Sevius around. Oh, and going up to the top rope. What do we have here? Oh, thought better of it. See Sevius getting back to his feet. I think he anticipated maybe Sevius trying to bait him into something there, and power slam. Down goes Sevius, staring down his own doom. And up and down again. Still got that locked in. Another, and just pounding poor Sevius Doom into the mat. Oh, no, side chops to the neck. Sevius able to break that suplex attempt, and he's got a little bit of shifting momentum, trying to light up Benny now. Got him tied up in the ropes. Wrenching the arm, trying to break some of that power of Benny. Sends him into the corner. And excellent, well-aimed blow to the face of Benny, trying to get right into the temple there, stunning the larger opponent. He's not going to win in a sheer power offense, so straight strikes is the way to go, but look at the power of Sevius, not to be underestimated. 500 pounds of Minotaur beef. Hauled across the ring like a sack of potatoes. But Benny up and Kip up, the unexpected agility, and they're just out of nowhere. Clothesline sends Sevius back down to the mat. And up and down he goes. Benny gesturing to the crowd, winning over their adoration, and hooked up goes Sevius once again, and down again. The leg just twisted up onto the ropes. Hauled back up by the neck, up he goes, and this is just unpleasant for poor Sevius. And giant crossbody from the top, 500 pounds of beef crashing down. He's got him waiting. And there it goes. Gore, big spear by Benny. Damn near broke Sevius in half. That has to have done it. No, Sevius dug deep somehow. Doom found the wherewithal to keep going. I think, however, that may have been a mistake by Sevius Doom. Another slam. Staring up at the lights. Ring awareness by Benny, moving him away from the rope. And that is it. Thank you for coming, Sevius Doom. Good night. slam after slam after slam after slam, with Federico and Reinhardt looking on approvingly at their half-brother from ringside. These three, as yet only 2 matches in, but undefeated in AIW, they are charging their way through the division. They, at this point, seem absolutely unstoppable. What a presence they will be here in All Influencer Wrestling. We continue to roll on with more hard-hitting action. Again, our main event later on, Vattlestar versus Trix. But there are plenty of other competitors here with their own beef. And we'll be seeing some more of those after these short messages.
Luz tried everything to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Hammers, axes, magic, saws, more magic, fire, even more magic, and magic explosions. Still, the door refused her. Why? After all this time and effort, why wouldn't the damn thing open? Sure, it was an enchanted door that would open the path to a potentially catastrophic amount of magic pouring back into the universe, causing endless natural disasters that would drown or bury most cities from existence. But there was an equally high chance that wouldn't happen, and that the magic had been sealed away by ignorant fools for nothing. She had to believe there was a reason why she could tap into a sliver of the magic locked behind the door. That this was it, her singular life purpose. Open the door. Restore its magic back to everyone like it used to be in the stories, where anyone could use magic, for good or bad. That had to be it, right? That had to be why she was standing here, in the door's pocket dimension, on a small plot of Earth, large enough for only one person to stand in front of it, swearing at this void black door with iridescent veins flowing along its surface like water, living, taunting her to just open it already. So why was it so hard to swing the damn thing wide? Somehow, she had shoved the door apart just a crack ages ago. A thin, wispy line of light seeped out of a seam down the centre. Whenever she used teleportation magic, as she had decided to call it since she didn't know the correct term and hadn't seen others use it before, probably because it was dangerous and required sliding through space and time, but who was counting? She tapped into a sliver of warmth and power to travel wherever she wished. She'd managed that slight opening unthinking as a child, then never again. What was she doing wrong now? Worse, what if she wasn't doing anything wrong? What if this door wasn't meant to open for her after all? What else could there be for her but this? After everything, after all that searching, what else could there be?
This has been an extract from The Void Door by V.M. Ayala. To read the full story, please visit beneath-ceaseless-skies.com and search for issue 378. And thank you for watching Masterpiece Theatre.
We are back, and it is another chapter in the ongoing saga of the Dangerous Alliance.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring, representing the Dangerous Alliance from Harlem, New York, the Latina sensation, Teresa Dominguez.
Teresa Dominguez in singles action tonight, flanked as always by her sister Calypso. Teresa not happy after being embarrassed at the hands of Chen Harper last week. She is out for retaliation tonight. Not against Chen herself, but Teresa has called out Chen's prized pupil, Faria Ahmed.
And from Mumbai, India, a specialist, Faria Ahmed.
As you see, accompanied there by Chen, the trainer of both Faria and Calypso. Calypso there torn, I suspect, in this match as her sister takes on her best friend. Teresa, meanwhile, after being defeated by Chen via countout last week, is looking to enact some vengeance. And Faria is the way she plans on doing it. And that is exactly what Teresa looks like she is going to do tonight, lighting up Faria out the gate. Chen Harper, of course, arrived in AIW very recently. Lured here after witnessing, my God, look at the athleticism of Teresa. I'm sorry, I will finish that thought later. That was some incredible athleticism by the elder Dominguez sister. Just drumming Faria. This seems to have been the theme of the night, is very, very one-sided matches, and Teresa out here looking to continue that trend. But as I was saying, Chen Harper, the trainer of both Faria Ahmed and Calypso Dominguez, arrived here in AIW, lured in after witnessing the Dangerous Alliance essentially defeat themselves time and time again. Their arrogance in the ring, their love of taunting their opponents, costing them opportunity after opportunity, something that Faria herself has been more than a little guilty of. Chen here trying to bring her students back in line, trying to help them focus on what is important. And as we all know, that means clout. The one thing everyone here at AIW is chasing. Faria, I think at this point, is just chasing some painkillers after this match. And over she goes again. Incredible dynamic athleticism shown by Teresa Dominguez. She is absolutely sending a message here. Faria lighting her up though in return. I think perhaps they're baiting Teresa onto the outside. Hurling her back into the ring. Faria not looking for the countout victory, although that would certainly be another deep level of humiliation for Teresa if she were to be defeated again in such a manner. And look at that. Faria really showing off her own athleticism, hauling Teresa around, just vaulting over, and speaking of vaults, over the top rope into a head scissors takedown. And bounces Teresa's head right off the turnbuckle. Calypso there just looking on in horror, watching her best friend and her sister tear absolute strips off one another. Faria locked in there for what looked like going for a suplex, thought better of it, maybe should have. Teresa able to counter, hip toss, and down goes Faria. Only gets a 2 count. And vaulting off the ropes herself, double kick right to the face of Ahmed. Tying her up and DDT down, plants the head right into the mat. Ahmed rolls to the outside, try and get a breather, but Dominguez is following up. Waiting, yelling for Ahmed to get back to her feet. And I think Ahmed caught her. Oh, what a trick there played by Faria. Ahmed, I think she baited Teresa into that. She was waiting for that top rope offense, bouncing her head off the ring post. And now that same maneuver we saw, this time planting it into the wooden ship's decking. This is the lesson that Chen was trying to teach Teresa last week. Her biggest weakness tends to be getting too hot-headed and losing focus. Faria taking advantage of that herself now, but there's Faria's own tendency to showboat in the ring and Teresa making her suffer for it. Choking out Ahmed now. Any longer than that, the ref would have called for a disqualification, but going back up to the top, but I don't think she realized Ahmed was back to her feet. Didn't matter, that time she landed it. Not able to get enough footing to counter, sends Ahmed down and rolls through. What does Dominguez have in mind here? Hook and down, plants Faria into the mat, face first. That has to have done it. Nope. Dug deep. Ahmed kicks out Teresa. Dominguez cannot believe that did not put Ahmed away. Back up to the top rope she goes. I think we may be seeing that 450 once again. Up she goes, and no, going for the amazing, just planting Faria down. That may well have done it. I think that time, yes. Faria Ahmed not kicking out of that one this time. Teresa Dominguez staring into the eyes of Chen Harper as she locks down that 3 count. Calypso, meanwhile, you see her there in the back, watching on. This is not a match she wanted to see happen. Nonetheless, celebrating in the ring with her sister. Yelling there, Teresa, at the retreating Chen Harper and Faria Ahmed. This saga of the Dangerous Alliance is far from done. Where will this feud continue on next? How will Chen Harper react to this particular development? We'll find out in coming weeks. But we have yet more matches still on the card for the night. We have plenty more action to come. Next up, Banshee versus Saria Violet. The match that was interfered with and rebooked. Submission match up next. Banshee takes on Saria Violet. The match can only be won by one competitor tapping out. We'll be right back with that after these short messages. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Captain Turiant Guidel, most dashingly handsome pirate in all of Lumsalaminsa and the clout missioner of all influencer wrestling. As a swashbuckling pirate, I know a thing or two about hats. And sometimes, even I feel the hats I own are just too big. So when I feel the need for minuscule millinery, there's only one place that comes to mind. TinyHatLabs.com. Tiny Hat Labs have always sought to push the boundaries of what's possible in client engagement millinery feedback solutions. Their guiding question remains the same today as it was when they were founded. What if small hat, but tiny? Operating at the nexus of science, engineering, artificial intelligence, art, fashion and design, Tiny Hat Labs seeks to pave the way to a paradigm shift in headpiece technology. While others ask, how much?
TinyHatLabs.com asks, how little? I'm Captain Tyrion Guidel, and TinyHatLabs.com is my favourite place for hats on the internet.
Okay, I just murdered Vegeta with a truck. What the hell is this game? And she came down the stairs, breast in boobily.
I wasn't ready. Woo, that was good.
Nope. I looked at the map, went, where's the boss? Oh, it's that way, and immediately went in the wrong direction. If that is not a perfect example of my sense of direction, I don't know what is. You're the new farmer. I see. No offense, but you look like you've never held a tool in your life. Excuse me, Jim. I am well adept at holding my tool. Thank you very much.
The Cool Guardian, not me.
The God Emperor made me do it!
The God Emperor made me do it. Yes. Oh, can I get away with yelling that in real life, please? Welcome back, welcome back. The rivalry between Saria Violet and Banshee has been heating up the last couple of weeks.
Is a submission match. Making her way to the ring from overseas, Violet.
This time, the match that was intended to be booked last week, that was interfered with by, it seems, Trix, extending her shenanigans beyond just Vattlestar and into the running of All Influencer Wrestling. The match will be happening as originally intended tonight. Saria Violet not historically having the best of luck here in AIW until recently. She's gone on a bit of a redemption tear herself as of late, racking up a couple of wins and starting to really establish a place for herself in the roster. Banshee here looking to put an end to that.
Sin City, Banshee.
Very much a differing bout of styles here. The Sun Soul Monk Saria Violet favoring hard-hitting snap offense, whereas Banshee more conniving, a very tricky opponent in the ring. She will bait you into overextending yourself and then take full advantage. Weaponizing those dangerous stilettoed boots. These two coming to know each other very well in the ring. Power versus flexibility. In a submission match, this could go either way. Hyping up, they are ready to go. Now the strategy for each of them here needs to be isolate a body part, work it over, weaken it, to eventually force your opponent to tap out. Gut punch there by Banshee. Tried to send Saria into the ropes, ref getting into the way there, and there we go. That's what I was talking about. Out of nowhere, that surprise offense, that flexibility of Banshee. Able to turn that maneuver around and turn it back onto Saria. And what on earth is she doing here? Look at that, wrenching the arms back, trying to snap out of the socket. A smart move. Banshee, being the well-trained monk that she is, all four limbs extremely lethal, trying to injure the arms early on will significantly reduce the amount of offense Saraya is able to inflict. And look at that, by that just disrespect by Banshee, but again, baited her in. Saraya trying to take advantage of Banshee's taunting, and she reversed that snap through. Banshee, I think, has very much gone into Saraya Violet's head in this match, and she is absolutely making her pay for it. Duck out of the way goes Violet. I do wonder if Banshee did get some damage done on those arms. Violet seems to have been favoring the kicks a little more ever since. And now wrenching the arm of Banshee herself. And working now the neck. Just get that chin lock in there. Wrench the neck. What does Banshee have in mind now? Making her way over to the corner. Striking a pose, waiting, and wow. Big round kick there to the back of Banshee. Holds her back towards the middle of the ring. Now trying to work over the back, and oh, she's got that locked in deep. Wrenching the spine. Banshee, though, able to power out. And flip over she goes, but holding the back there. That did some deep damage to the spine of Banshee. Saraya able to capture herself on the ropes there, avoid letting Banshee capitalize on that momentum, and then flips around, strikes again, working towards the lower body, but that kick to the back of the head. And now Banshee returning the favor, lighting her up with strikes of her own. DDT down to the mat. And locking, tying her up for figure four. Didn't able to get that locked in fully. Saraya able to power out, and now again working over the arm. And I think going back to, we're going to see that maneuver again. Once again, trying to snap the arms out of the socket of Saraya Violet. And going right back to it again. This definitely seems to be the move that Banshee has decided is going to win this match for her. Saraya really needs to find that second wind, excuse me. Snap goes the arm. And roundhouse kick by Banshee, again sending Saraya down to the mat. Saraya, oh, no, that was Banshee able to spin around. She's got that locked in again. Now, look at the pressure that's going onto that right arm of Saraya Violet. All of Banshee's weight wrenching against it. Somehow, Violet able to find the wherewithal to power out. Clothesline sends Violet over the top rope. Banshee sliding out as opposed to going for a diving maneuver of her own. That is smart. High-risk moves, not the ones to go for in this match. The damage to your own body will rack up. Bounces Saraya off the steps, follows through with those dangerous stiletto boots. Working again over the arms of Saraya Violet. Back into the steps she goes again. Of course, no countouts either in this match type. Submission is the only way this match is going to end. And slamming Banshee down to that wooden ship's decking on the outside. Hauls her over. Leg drop. And just takes a moment to send that message. But hip up by Banshee. But onto the shoulders of Saraya Violet she goes, and down face first into those planks. Back into the ring. And big roundhouse kick. We've seen Saraya Violet end many a match with that, but pinfalls won't work here. And oh, there she goes, wrenching back the neck of Banshee. I think Saraya may have burned a couple of key points to get herself back into the match. Can she hold on? Will Banshee break? That's an awful lot of torque on the spine of Banshee right now. She's desperately trying to hold on. Somehow wiggles through, able to knock Saraya Violet off balance. And down with the stiletto heeled boot. Domp. Down she goes. And a second. That is going to hurt. Again, if this were a standard match, you have to imagine that would lead to the pinfall. But she has to make Saraya tap. She has to make her tap out. She's got her locked in, and I think that was it. We saw the tap. The damage to the arm, simply too much. Saraya Violet taps out. The strategy of Banshee throughout that entire match, one of work over the arm, weakened the offense, and it paid off for her in the long game. The momentum of Saraya Violet brought to a screeching halt, a screaming halt, if you will, by Banshee.
Here is your winner, Banshee!
I am certain, though, Saraya will not leave that lying. Catching her breath, trying to pull back on the outside of the ring. We will have both these competitors checked over by medical staff backstage. A dominant performance by Banshee. She is going to be riding high off of making Violet tap. We have more action still yet to go. Our main event looming again. Vattlestar Galactica meeting the Enigmatic Tricks one-on-one. But before we get to that, more mysteries unfold. Steve Sparks and Phantom have recently sparked a odd alliance between the two, interfering in matches by Avric, Brightmoon, and Tiff. Those two teams will be up in action shortly.
Luz tried everything to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Hammers, axes, magic, saws, more magic, fire, even more magic, and magic explosions. Still, the door refused her. Why? After all this time and effort, why wouldn't the damn thing open? Sure, it was an enchanted door that would open the path to a potentially catastrophic amount of magic pouring back into the universe, causing endless natural disasters that would drown or bury most cities from existence. But there was an equally high chance that wouldn't happen, and that the magic had been sealed away by ignorant fools for nothing. She had to believe there was a reason why she could tap into a sliver of the magic locked behind the door. That this was it, her singular life purpose. Open the door, restore its magic back to everyone like it used to be in the stories, where anyone could use magic, for good or bad. That had to be it, right? That had to be why she was standing here, in the door's pocket dimension, on a small plot of Earth, large enough for only one person to stand in front of it, swearing at this void black door with iridescent veins flowing along its surface like water, living, taunting her to just open it already. So why was it so hard to swing the damn thing wide. Somehow, she had shoved the door apart just a crack ages ago. A thin, wispy line of light seeped out of a seam down the centre. Whenever she used teleportation magic, as she had decided to call it since she didn't know the correct term and hadn't seen others use it before, probably because it was dangerous and required sliding through space and time, but who was counting? She tapped into a sliver of warmth and power to travel wherever she wished. She'd managed that slight opening unthinking as a child, then never again. What was she doing wrong now? Worse, what if she wasn't doing anything wrong? What if this door wasn't meant to open for her after all? What else could there be for her but this? After everything, after all that searching, what else could there be?
This has been an extract from The Void Door by V.M. Ayala. To read the full story, please visit beneath-ceaseless-skies.com and search for issue 378. And thank you for watching Masterpiece Theatre. We are back. And making his way down to the ring,
The following contest is
Avric
scheduled for
Brightmoon.
one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing Team Bring It from parts unknown, weighing in at 169 pounds, Ray.
Avric not accompanied by Tiff tonight. We are seeing one-on-one action. Avric asking Tiff to wait backstage. He is out to prove and handle this by himself. This furious halfling paladin is ready for some revenge. And it is Phantom who has answered the challenge.
And his opponent, from wherever he wants, weighing in at 294 pounds, the Phantom.
Of course, no sign of Steve Sparks either, which is a concern for Avric. He is called unpredictable for a reason. Is this going to be a ploy by Sparks? Phantom, though, a much more direct type of opponent. It does seem somewhat unlikely he would be willing to engage in Sparks' usual types of chicanery. But we shall see how this match plays out. And the sheer size difference between these two. Not even coming in at 5 feet tall, Avric, halfling, taking on the towering Phantom. But if there is one thing Avric is determined to prove, it is that he should not be underestimated due to his height. He's proven that time and time again. He is a powerhouse. Cracking down the elbow there onto the neck of Phantom. Phantom returning with a counter of his own. Gut punch to Avric. Hoying him, tried to get over the top rope. Avric able to hold on. Counters punch back by himself. Tried to grapple up with Phantom a few times. Phantom able to counter. Avric rolling through. Tried to wrench over the leg there, but too pent up in his own rage. Easily able to get the rope break for the Phantom. Double hand axe blow down onto the shoulder blade of Phantom by Avric. Phantom there able to counter that whip attempt by Avric. And up and over goes Brightmoon. Down for the pinfall attempt. Only a 1. Gonna take a lot more than that to sunset this Brightmoon. That might do it. And there's that kick. Phantom just taunting, waiting, and Avric trying to go for the clothesline. Phantom brushed that off. We have not seen a lot of people counter the power offense of Avric Brightmoon like that. Phantom definitely just managed it. Bounces Brightmoon off the turnbuckle. And big running boot. Trying to wrench the arm, just putting all that pressure. Those kicks to the back whilst pulling the arm away from the body, and now working over the other. Limb manipulation by the Phantom and crashing down onto the spine of Brightmoon. Brightmoon countered that one, caught the boot, and there's that clothesline landed. Flurry of offense and spear out of nowhere. Is that going to do it? No, Phantom able to dig down deep, kicks out, but that just splash offense there by Brightmoon. It looks like he may be going for another. Does he have? Oh, no, he's going to tie up Phantom. And up he goes, and look, there's that power of Brightmoon, and down he goes. Seren Ray slam, but caught up in his own rage. Those long legs of the Phantom able to get that rope break. This is where that may be a mistake by Brightmoon to... Oh, and the weird powers of Phantom. We've seen that happen before. Lights go out, teleporting behind Brightmoon. Able to get this match back onto more even footing. Oh, shooting that red mist way up into the air. I don't think he was attempting to actually hit Brightmoon with that. That was a show off, but there's Seren Ray slam again. Drops Phantom into the middle of the ring this time. Brightmoon gets the pin. And out comes Tiff to congratulate his friend, his partner. Oh. Out the ring goes Phantom. Tiff clearing out the ring as Avric and Tiff celebrate. As poor Avric gets full-on Mike Wazowski'd by our overlay. Not much we can really do about that. You know, get taller, mate. Get taller. Phantom certainly not going to take that one lying down. I think seriously underestimated Avric in that match. But next up, we have one more match on the card tonight, and it's the one you've been waiting for. Vattlestar Galactica, at long last, comes face to face with Trix. We will be right back for that after these short messages. Do not go anywhere. This is sure to be one you're not going to want to miss.
Hi, I'm Captain Tyrion Guidel, most dashingly handsome pirate in all of Limsa and the Clout Missioner of all influencer wrestling. As a swashbuckling pirate, I know a thing or two about hats. And sometimes, even I feel the hats I own are just too big. So when I feel the need for minuscule millinery, there's only one place that comes to mind. tinyhatlabs.com. Tiny Hat Labs have always sought to push the boundaries of what's possible in client engagement millinery feedback solutions. Their guiding question remains the same today as it was when they were founded. What if small hat but tiny. Operating at the nexus of science, engineering, artificial intelligence, art, fashion and design, Tiny Hat Labs seeks to pave the way to a paradigm shift in headpiece technology. While others ask, how much? TinyHatLabs.com asks, how little? I'm Captain Tyrion Guidel, and TinyHatLabs.com is my favourite place for hats on the internet.
Suplex the train! Himbo power! Come on. Need to pop more potions. Meteor strike! Oh, I can't suplex... Oh, yeah, that's right. I can suplex a train, but I can't suplex an octopus. And here is our octopus friendo. Can I suplex an octopus? Nope. Can't suplex an octopus, turns out. Too slippery. Can I suplex Ultima Weapon? So we're going to start chucking some shuriken. I can suplex Ultima Weapon. Come on. We're so close. Lift. Come on, Sabin. Come on. Suplex! Boom! Hippo power!
Luz tried everything to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Hammers, axes, magic, saws, more magic, fire, even more magic, and magic explosions. Still, the door refused her. Why? After all this time and effort, why wouldn't the damn thing open? Sure, it was an enchanted door that would open the path to a potentially catastrophic amount of magic pouring back into the universe, causing endless natural disasters that would drown or bury most cities from existence. But there was an equally high chance that wouldn't happen, and that the magic had been sealed away by ignorant fools for nothing. She had to believe there was a reason why she could tap into a sliver of the magic locked behind the door. That this was it, her singular life purpose. Open the door, restore its magic back to everyone like it used to be in the stories, where anyone could use magic, for good or bad. That had to be it, right? That had to be why she was standing here, in the door's pocket dimension, on a small plot of Earth, large enough for only one person to stand in front of it, swearing at this void-black door with iridescent veins flowing along its surface like water, living, taunting her to just open it already. So why was it so hard to swing the damn thing wide? Somehow, she had shoved the door apart just a crack ages ago. A thin, wispy line of light seeped out of a seam down the centre. Whenever she used teleportation magic, as she had decided to call it since she didn't know the correct term and hadn't seen others use it before, probably because it was dangerous and required sliding through space and time, but who was counting? She tapped into a sliver of warmth and power to travel wherever she wished. She'd managed that slight opening unthinking as a child, then never again. What was she doing wrong now? Worse, What if she wasn't doing anything wrong? What if this door wasn't meant to open for her after all? What else could there be for her but this? After everything, after all that searching, what else could there be?
This has been an extract from The Void Door by V.M. Ayala. To read the full story, please visit beneath-ceaseless-skies.com and search for issue 378. And thank you for watching Masterpiece Theatre.
It is time. Let the showdown commence.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring, representing Chaos from Valhalla, the Tank.
Months of torment, months of frustration bubbling over for Vattlestar Galactica. She has been waiting to get her hands on her mysterious tormentor, only recently identifying a name. And now, it's time for the payback.
Everything says metrics.
And from New York,
Marion Eleanor Briggs. He goes by the name Metrix. And she is here to attack Vattlestar Galactica. The AIW universe just booing Metrix as she makes her way down to the ring. Vattlestar is more than ready. And out the gate, Val charges, but Metrix able to counter. Drives Val down. Pulls her back up, and leg hook by Vattlestar sends Metrix crashing down. And just the bow, the disrespect. Vattlestar having absolutely none of it, over she goes. Vattlestar returning the taunt, Metrix strike to the face. And then to the back, the spine of Vattlestar. Spinning around and hauling over the top rope, catches and boot down she goes. And spiked heels to the spine. We saw earlier in the match with Banshee and Aria how effective that can be. Working it out over the thigh and just taunting Vattlestar. holding up the L to her forehead. Val left lying in the middle of the ring. Lighting her up. Sends off into the ring ropes. Val able to dodge and catches onto the ring ropes to steady herself. And big flying elbow snap out of nowhere by Vattlestar. And now here comes counterattack. Hoists Metrix up onto her shoulders and wrenching the neck. She's got that locked in. Look at the way that spine is curved. Metrix, though, able to power out. Tosses Val over to the ring and just slap. And there, spinning back elbow by Vattlestar sends Metrix down. Can she get the pinfall? No, only a 1. Val waiting for Metrix to pull back to her feet, and I think Metrix was waiting for that as well. Caught Val with a knee. Tried to bait her in, but Val, over she goes. Suplex tosses Metrix over. And down goes Vattlestar once more. Very evenly matched. Very evenly matched. Rolled out. Predicted, I think, that Val was going to need to take that moment to breathe and was right there waiting. Val able to get the counter, drove the face of Metrix down into the knee, and off to the ring steps she goes. Sends her flying across the outside ring area. Val getting back in. She is not going to want this to end by ref count out. She needs a dominant win over Metrix here tonight. And this might do it, bouncing her right off the turnbuckle, and big boot, using the ropes for some additional momentum. Hauls her back up to the feet. Up and big slam. Down she goes. She's got that pin in deep. 1, 2. Can't quite get it. At the end of the day, Metrix seems inescapable. Val taking that moment, though, to play to the crowd. Standing over Metrix's prone body. Hoists her back up and over into the corner once more. Just chucking her around. But snap elbow there gets that counter. Playing possum there a little bit, I fear. Snap over goes Vattlestar. And oh, I think we got it. And there goes, lands the pedigree. And ring awareness by Metrix. Val pulled out of the corner, so she cannot go for that rope break. Is that going to do it? Is that going to give her enough time to recover? Yes! Vattlestar kicks out. Go Vattlestar. Come on. DDT down into the mat. Come on, Val. Power through. The AIW faithful behind Vattlestar in this match, able to get the rope break. Val really grappling with Metrix right now. Mid-rope, and Val dodging out of the way, sends her crashing down under her own momentum. Up top goes Val. Val goes to space! Flying elbow drop Come on, Val. 1, 2. She has done it. She has done it. Months of torment, months of frustration. Vattlestar has defeated Metrics, and she is not done. Puts the boot in. Metrics left lying in the ring. What? Vattlestar has a table. Brings the table into the ring, lays out Metrics. Come on, Val. Months she has been building to this. Ever since that first interference that cost Val a title shot. Bringing it through, up over the shoulder, come on. Up and down through the table she goes. Vattlestar Galactica. Chaos standing dominant. That has to feel good. Vindication for Vattlestar. Making her way out of the ring, standing tall. What a victory for Vattlestar Galactica. On that highest of high notes, we have seen a streamer defeat the Metrics. Thank you, Vattlestar. Thank you, AIW Universe. We have had a hell of a night. I have been your Clout Missioner, Captain Tyrion Guidal. We will see where the fallout from this takes us over the coming weeks. We have more Champions opportunities to determine. We've still got clout to chase. I'm going to be riding that thrill for a while. Thank you all for being here. Have a great week ahead. We'll see you back next Thursday for more clout chasing action here on AIW. And as always, remember, stay #out for clout.